Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. This one's going to be the first analysis video on my channel. What I want to do here is take a look at my best game for the weekend and my worst game for the weekend. Try to point out what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong. So the idea is, now that I'm pretty much done with most of the tutorial, foundational videos that I've got planned, the idea is to show how that actually works in game, how I'm utilizing all of those things, and also what I could be doing better in my own game, because I'm not perfect at this game yet. I've got some things left to accomplish. So this one, by far for me, was the best. Quick little tip of something I do. I don't normally establish myself as much of a dribbler immediately in these games. I'm not trying to bring out some of the more obscure skill moves right away. That's really poor, by the way. But I'm not trying to show off that I know all these obscure skill moves. I'm not really trying to heavily utilize agile dribbling. Now, of course, if the situation is open for it, or if I know that the opponent's going to be susceptible to it, then I do go for it. But the first 10, 15, 20 minutes of a match, I don't really want to show off my strongest attribute. I always want to kind of set myself up as kind of a varied player, somebody who's able to do a lot of different things. Now, obviously, in a situation like that, it did open up perfectly for it. I don't know why we're stuttering here. Interesting. Guess my stream had a problem. But anyway, I'm not trying to, I'm hiding it in a sense, at least in the games that are I know are going to be a little bit more difficult. So that's a kind of a trick you can implement. Because if you think about it, if you ever come up against somebody that's immediately, on their first attack, they're doing the L1 sprint boost or they're doing a power shot, it might even be effective. It might catch you off guard. You're not, defending that particular thing in that first attack. Even if they score from it, that's one thing. But the first thing for the rest of the game that I'm going to defend is that mechanic that they just used. So if that's all they're good at, and they showed me that's kind of what they're going to prioritize, then I know to defend that one thing for the rest of the game. So I normally don't try to, dribble in my first couple attacks, just so I'm not communicating to the opponent, hey, this is all I'm going to do all game. Which I think makes it more effective when you start doing it in your first time for the 20th minute or so. This is all kind of average, and then that's just this L1 heel to heel is the most effective to kind of spam your way through the opponent. This is perfect, your body shape is a little bit up, and then it puts you perfectly neutral right through them. Then the heavy touch, should not be sprinting there. Probably get a goal if I just take my finger off of R2. This is, I don't have anything immediately, so I'm trying to drag the opponent out. You see all the movement they're making with Mendy. Same idea. I want to get them to control one of their center mids and just drag them too far out of position. Now, their team was naturally out of shape just a little bit from that offside trap. You see everything's a little bit off, so able to take some space there. Just try and work the ball around. That's a little too aggressive. Raf was not quite the right player to use there. So a little too direct here. I think I'm just forcing the ball forward. I know this is probably going to be one of the easier games. It is towards the beginning of Weekend League. And then that's just the tactic. This is counter, and then my CDM's on roaming. My left mid's being occupied. I guess kind of making a run out wide. Right, but both the left mid and right mid are occupied by the opponent's fullbacks. Milo's on the ball. Opponent has dragged the midfield completely out. And the center back's out of position because the center back was out wide. I don't actually know why. But because of that, there's so much space that my CDM just decides, oh, I can get forward. That's just more the benefit of the tactic than anything, but nice little hold up from Schuler to see the run and lay the ball on beyond, or lay the ball behind. That's a good little read. That's unlucky. Yeah, the opponent is so they're corralled here. They've got the one center back, which I'm never scared of going, you can go back there. There's never going to be any danger in holding the ball there, right? But there's nothing they can do otherwise, so I'm just kind of baiting that pass. I don't want to necessarily cover it immediately, because that might scare them off and they'll try something else. But I know once you make that pass, I'm going to step right into you. Just trying to cover off the most dangerous thing next. You can have the ball deeper with the center mids. I'll always defend the further forward thing first. Just through, thought that might have been interceptable. But then way too heavy of a turn there from the opponent. Kind of similar thing, trying to bring one of the center mids out. Now that center mid's going to be way out, trying to track back. Get a little space in the midfield. Easy switch. That's one one of the benefits of Trivela is just some of your passing is a lot better with it. This is, I know that but first of all, nice little turn from Malo. His body type and dribbling allows for this, all that. So, immediate turn out of the body feint. He's one of the few players you'd be able to do that with. But I know that the way Musiala is going to receive the ball, I'm taking the first touch up. You see I'm pointing diagonally up here. It's going to put his back to the defender. Now, the defender's really aggressive and expecting me to keep going down, so it works even better than I anticipated it to. But the idea is, even if the opponent comes across to me, I've got my back to them, it's going to be a lot harder for them to tackle. And there's a finesse. Those are always a little bit scary. So not the best defending from me. Could have... I just don't spot that at all. I'm guarding other things. So that's more of a recognition thing. Gotta pick my eyes up and see where the danger on the field is. Lots of open space here. Just kind of taking the easy option. Defender defends way too out wide. There's Malin's phenomenal finishing in Trivela. So the idea is, like, even though I've got space with other players I can maybe move into, the feint with Bowie out wide means the opponent comes all the way across to defend out wide. It opens up such a space in the midfield, but that only happens because I'm coercing them to come all the way out wide to defend that thing. They're defending the wrong priority. They should just give me the wing, let me attack down there. I'm going to have a successful attack, but not as dangerous as the other one. But they choose the wrong priority option there. Same idea here. Very easy move. I want to take the touch into VVD here, because I don't want them controlling the center mid. I want them to start controlling VVD. So I make it look like a little bit of a heavy touch. As soon as they control that center back, I'm controlling the situation. If they let the AI defend this, then I'll continue to have space here, but I won't be able to get in behind nearly as effectively. But they don't jockey over as well as the AI would have to intercept that. So all I'm trying to do there is bait the opponent into controlling that player. Now, the next goal I score, you might have seen from one of my shorts, and there's a reason I want to show it again to talk about it. It's got something to do with my skill move tutorial. That's a little too aggressive. That would have been offside. That the opponent just gives the ball back to me. Trying to find the maximum amount of space on the field. One of the things you can utilize is when you're looking at your game and trying to determine where to attack, just looking for the spaces on the field where there's gaps. So obviously you've got everything back here. That's like this is all space you control. This is space the defender doesn't have any bodies in. Their bodies are all defending that shape, right? So they're only really defending these spots on the field, which means I've got here and here. Now I'm trying to get forward, so obviously this pocket and this pocket are the most beneficial. But because this defender is so far over, if you think about the halfway line here, like this defender is a little bit wider out than this one is. So to kind of, if we were matching where this guy is for the other fullback, she should be about there. Instead, she's a little bit more inside, which means I've got way more space on that side. So let him move up. The feint down also has encouraged him to control one of the center mids and drag him away from that spot. You can see how much space it opens up on the far side. Should have a little pocket here, which means the opponent has to rush, get players over there, which normally opens up gaps back the way you came from. Although sometimes if they don't defend it on this side effectively enough, then I'll have a lot of gaps here. My first couple skill moves really effective here. Body feints, ball rolls, stop into the La Coqueta. Little elastico, just open space. Now, I'm trying to be a little selfish here with Musiala. It's okay, like, I'm going for a skill row and I'm really up, but obviously the move here would be down here into Garcia, and then might be able to see Malin on a late run, or maybe Malo will get back into a good spot, but a little greedy with the scale move, just end up doing it right into the center back there. I'm trying to What would have been more effective in this, what I'm kind of guessing, is that the opponent continued controlling that player, because they were controlling that one just a second ago. Always a little bit easier to skill a user-controlled player as opposed to the AI one, so once the switch happens, I'm just predicting that the switch isn't going to happen. Yeah, a little aggressive here. Looks like it's going to work immediately, but it's a little bit of a trap for that too, so... The downside of doing something like this is always going to be... Yes, you might get something really effective, but it's always a risk reward. So this is either a success or a fail, because I've got no other, like, I might be able to left foot pass that down there with Malin back here, so I might have an outlet. But everything else there is blocked off because the opponent's completely in front of any ability for me to get backwards. So it's high risk, high reward. I either lose the ball or I get through and get a shot on goal. That is greedy from me. But then this one, so again, you might have seen on the short, the combo of 5 skills. You see how effective it is? This is what I was talking about. The opponent continuing to control that one defender because he doesn't switch off of that. That becomes so effective. So much space there, able to get in and score. So if you saw my dribbling tutorial, let's talk about this. Or my skill move one. Ooh, excuse me. I had 4. Nope, it's doing it again. There we go. I had 4 categories of skill moves. So one was going to be... This was all possession based. These were going to be skill moves that get you away from the defender successfully, and normally very successfully, like highest success rate skill moves, just to get away, but not really to get past anybody. 2 was going to be explosive ones. They're a little bit riskier, but when they're successful, they get you much further past the opponent. So 1 is going to be like body feints, ball rolls, some of the side-to-side skill moves I'll do. We'll see one here in a second. 2 is going to be your heel-to-heels and your elasticos, like really trying to get past somebody. A little bit easier to tackle if they do, but if you're successful, you get way further past. 3, and this is the one I really want to talk about, this is the baiting your opponent in with an open space skill move, making it look like you took a heavy touch, and telling them, hey, actually come tackle me on the next touch. But you do that intentionally, knowing exactly where you're going to end up in space, and encouraging them to get in that spot with another move already in mind. So, hey, get out of the space you're covering, try to come get me, because it looks like I'm making that heavy touch. I've already got something in mind for when you do move out of that space. 4 was the simplest. 4 was, like, settling skill move. So if you're in a bad body shape and you just need to do, like, a ball roll or something, because otherwise you're going to be off balance. So we're talking mainly about these. The final one ends up being a 2 category. There are a couple 1s in here and a couple 3s. So let's see. This one's a 3, entirely open space. Now the benefit of doing a skill move versus a normal dribble, kind of twofold. A, you get to fake to your opponent, like, this looks like a heavy touch. This might be a skill move you don't really recognize, you're not expecting. But again, maybe a heavy touch, come and try to tackle that. It's not going to be a heavy touch, I'm in control here, but it looks like it might be one. And then 2 is just, when you do left stick or L2 R2 or L1 or any of the dribbling types, they're effective, but they're not guaranteed exactly what angle they're going to set you at. Sometimes they'll take like 2 touches into space. Sometimes they'll just take 1. You're never quite sure exactly what that left stick is going to result in. When you do a skill move, it is the same exact thing every time. So I know like not, the blade of grass or the pixel, but I know I'm going to end up in this region. As opposed to if I'm a left stick just dribbling, I might end up in a little wider of a region. So I want to get exactly here. And it's just kind of experience of having used that skill move before. On the body feint, you get a little bit of an acceleration boost from it. And then it sets you up really well. The body feint always has good balance as you're coming out of it. And it sets my back to the opponent just enough where they can't make any tackle to it. This is so we had, the first one was that category 3, this open space. Encourage the opponent to step all the way out. You see how much of a gap, like, at first we have, oops, that's not what I wanted. Hold on. But first we can see the opponent, there's just like 2-3 yards of space here. And after the skill move, we've encouraged There's your little 5-yard gap. So much easier for me to get into. Just encourage them to drag the opponent all the way out. So those were the first one in that category 3, open space. The next one, kind of a category 2, trying to get a little explosive. Normally you don't use body feints like that, but sometimes you can. That was a good situation for it. My player was set up at the angle for it, so doing that exact 45 degree turn. This one, category 1, not getting past anybody, but really setting myself up well in open space. Just another guaranteed turn. I know exactly where that's going to end up. Kind of encourages the opponent to go, hey, that might look like a heavy touch too. So kind of 3, but mostly 1. This one's entirely 3. And you watch as the opponent once again, and the final one's category 1. Again, you don't normally use a drag back like that, but it's perfect here. The opponent at first is then that perfect flat line here. That's, you know, the defensive shape you want your back line to be in. What we do with this skill move is we encourage them out of that shape. You see how far they've moved away from that flat line we were talking about? Here's your little 5-yard gap. When you're in that flat line, then I have to go a little bit around you, and that might lead me too much into one of your other players. But when you're stepped up like this, I've got plenty of time to get around you or get through you before you've got time to get that other player back. I'm going to move behind. There we go. So that was all setting up. I've got one skill move in mind to do that first. With the intention of doing that second skill move I've, again, already got in mind. Now this was me celebrating. I'm smiling a lot. I'm not defending very well. I do the exact same thing I just criticized, where I've brought my center backs, actually both of them, way out. Perfectly easy to exploit. Good little shot there against the goalie movement I had. Just way too... If I keep my flat line, if I'm just not aggressive here, then, like, perfectly in the way of the opponent, they might have tons of space here. This is way less dangerous than here. So I'm going for risk reward when there's really no risk of just keeping my flat line. I can stay defensive, let them have the ball, that's fine. I don't need to give them anything behind. Skip forward kickoff for a second. That's another greedy skill move, actually. Same thing. I'm expecting the opponent to continue controlling that player because they switch off and control that one. Then it's... I just end up doing the skill move right into the AI. And that was a layoff I really didn't expect. What can I do here? I think I'm just too aggressive again. I'm trying to intercept. There's no real danger in just going back here and defending. So just stay goal side. See my left stick's kind of just in the vertical direction here. I can just be going sideways or a little sideways diagonal. That's all I need to do. Keep myself in front of or in between the opponent and the goal. Again, I'm being a little... Oh, I've got the lead. I can relax a little bit. And there's no reason not to, but also no reason to. That was really effective from Bowie here. So kind of an open space skill move, but more category 2 than anything else. This is... I've got some distance away from the opponent, but I'm faking like I'm going to run into them, and you see they back off that little bit. So it's the fact that I move into that space up that makes them go, oh, I might have to defend upwards. And then I just fake back down. That's the same skill move I did earlier, little category 1, just to cut back inside the opponent. This is the running fake shot. That's L1 fake shot. It's an explosive one, a little bit risky, but you can see the success of it. So again, doing a category 2, there's a risk reward to it. Likelihood for that to get tackled, but when it does work, then you get him behind. You can see another body feint here actually kind of being used as a category 2. Now he's a little bit off balance because VVD just gets a little contact on him, and then it's Bowie with 66 shooting, so he's not able to convert it, but really good move from me. And it's kind of, if you are doing skill moves, you've got to debate which type of skill you are. Why are we delaying? You can go for a lot of explosive risky ones of, you know, low success rate, but highly effective when you do get him behind because you'll just be in so much space. Or you can have ones that are a lot more controlled, a little more guaranteed to come off, but not grant you such great rewards at the end. Now there's some good category 3 where you just kind of bait the opponent in open space, ones that you can do while standing still, so that's what this is, trying to encourage my opponent to either step out with a center mid or switch the player they're controlling. You see they're not. Because they're keeping a good enough shape, I don't go through it right away. Not until they've switched off of that player, and in this situation, because I'm not directly getting into a confrontation with the AI is not going to tackle me. When I was doing the other skill moves, I was just doing them right into them. But here, I've just got the space, Tech Plus with good enough explosion into the space. That's a surprisingly good touch. The downside of Tech Plus, as I get through the midfield here, I get a little too close to the center back. Very surprised he's able to go back that way. And then another, you've seen me do this a couple times, my body angle is this way, do a skill move to go that way. So instead of just facing this way immediately and then any skill move I have to do is immediately vertical, up a little bit, try to encourage the opponent instead of defending this way, try to encourage them to defend just that little bit up diagonal, that way. We'll just watch as the defender changes that body shape a little bit, goes up, skill move that gets behind. A little unfortunate on the finish again. I could probably dribble the goalkeeper there or something. That's really aggressive for me. Now, first time passes aren't that much of a danger, so that one's easily defended, but a couple more open space skill moves. You can see how aggressive they are with the center mids once again. So just trying to get that, there we are. Just trying to get the center mid shape. Like it's already out of position, but because the backline's so set, I want to get a little closer to the backline, as opposed to just kind of taking open space away from it and knowing how much they'd be able to delay and buy time for the center mids to get back. I want the ability to kind of explode into it, getting closer to the backline while the center mids are a little further away. I advanced pretty far up the field. Little risky there. Able to, that's actually normal left stick. I'm surprised that wasn't L2 R2. Trying to be a little explosive again, just getting in behind, but again, we're talking about the risk reward of that. Yeah, that's aggressive, but I had Ta well enough behind me. I think I'm able to make it in that situation. So aside from the two, like kickoff lapses, very good half from me. That's poor. So you see how much I shift the defender's body shape by faking up first and then down? I can do the same thing here. So where I want to end up is exactly where I face first. So instead of that, I need to face a different direction. I could try like moving up like this and then going down this way again. And that might open up, Musiala might make that run forward, or I might be able to just make a direct pass this way. Or I can go this way and try to bring the defender with me that way, and then play this ball in behind. But the fact that I shape up where I want to go means the defender's already defending what I want to accomplish. I need to look like I'm doing something else to open up that space. Again, a little too direct. Not enough creativity or misdirection there. I can't imagine that's who I meant to pass that to. That had to have been meant for Stanway. Kind of basic defense here. Now I do really disconnect Garcia from the midfield line, but I see the danger there. I don't have a great ability to get numbers this way, and they've got actually some threat on this side of the field. So I'm bringing my player up just to, no matter what, try to block this off. I'm not very scared about them here, so I can bring my CDM out of that spot and try to guard this, because all their numbers are on the other side. I really don't care about them getting here. Numbers over here, I want to defend this spot. So I'm aggressive. It could fail. Luckily, he gets the interception, or stalls for time at least. Yeah, obviously we had a little bit of a threat, but first time pass, not able to make it. Just delaying, trying to get them to bring their shape apart. The longer you delay, the more runs you get made too. So if I make that pass immediately, well, I've got Mullen making kind of a basic run on the outside, Schuler maybe making a run. But as we delay, we'll have players in better spots to make higher quality runs. Now Mullen's deep here. Able to make some good play from deep. Opponent doesn't switch over to the defenders there fast enough, so little gap to move in there, but shot wasn't a Trivela, so not effective. Just need that slight tweak in the body shape for that shot to come off. Ah, that's really poor from me. I get close. But you see how outnumbered they are versus me? There's no reason to be this aggressive. I can move back. Just make sure I'm absolutely guarding the line, because where are they going to go? I've got so many numbers here. Oops. Back to yellow. So what, 1, 2, 3. Got 4 players here, and they've got 4, but nowhere near in as tight of a shape as mine. So this one's all behind my 4. This one's offside. These two should be completely defended by my 4 there. Really poor to let that get through. Obviously, I'm very, very, very close to defending it, but it's this game. There's always going to be that little bit of a risk. But because they pulled the fullback out, little counter on the other side. That's a little lucky that ends up being a foul. I couldn't do much there because of the heavy touch after the long pass. That was strange. Same thing, little open space skill moves. Almost a good touch there. Again, very direct, just trying to spam some a little bit too much. I need to actually encourage the opponent to come into me. Oops, but I'm being a little aggressive as the scoreline's high, and I want just one of those montage goals. I think that's... no. I think I get one more soon here. Surprising touch from Mus... oh, yeah. Forgot about those. Surprising touch from Musiala actually to get through here. Not those ones. This one. Right through the opponent, so that's a little lucky. Mullen. That's not the version of that skill move I meant. Very lucky to get that back. That's way too direct. So you see how effective I was in that first half? This is my downside this year. So effective when I'm watching my opponent's shape, watching how it moves apart, thinking of ways I can get the ball into other spaces and just force them to move their players out of position. But when I start playing into what's given to me, like every time is just too... exactly. Every time it's too direct. It looks like it's open, but I'm just really going for the first option I see. No, I should pretty much never go for the first option I see. Always waiting for another run to be made. Always waiting to pull their shape apart into an even bigger gap. If that's green times, it's probably on target, but oh well. That's unfortunate. But that one always going to be a heavy touch. I feel like I can step out for that and step out with Ta for that pretty confidently. First touches are pretty vulnerable this year. Really waiting for that final attack from mine, I think, where I actually get them out of shape. This might be... no, not quite able to get him behind when the fullback was vulnerable there. Now, you see as their team moves around quite strangely off the offside traps. So, watch as their team steps up. Be another one there. Small little offside trap, but it's there. But the AI is always a little weird after it. So the offside trap is immediately effective because it catches basically all your players offside and messes with their attacking AI. But if you're able to just move the ball backwards after it, they don't fall back into shape after the offside trap into as good of a shape as they were before it started. So normally there's going to be some gap, some run that works, especially because my 4-2-3-1 has some deep runners. And that 4-3-3 might catch all of your forward 3 offside, but in this one I've always got my left and right mid able to do some things from deep. That's lucky. That's a little unlucky, but again, just too forceful. Now, of course, it works sometimes this year because you'll just get bounces back, but that's that run from deep I'm kind of talking about, and that should be, I think this is where I get through, yeah. So finally, one of the direct skill moves works, but you saw me score 5 in that first half and only 1 in the second. So second half being entirely pretty much direct. Eventually able to work here because I forced them to manually control one of the center backs and surprisingly actually get by VVD for once. I think just quick step, able to get through. Pulls VVD out so far. So much space to run into, but you see the downside of that second half playing so direct, whereas the first one really pulling the opponent apart, able to generate so many more options for me. Do I use precision shooting? I do, yes. I used precision shooting all last year, and I tested out assists a little bit this year, but went back to precision really quickly. Did that actually work right? Yeah. No. There. The quick update to the tactic I'm using before we. Hello everyone, and welcome back. Even though most FC YouTubers, yeah, I just not a fan of it. I think precision just feels more fun for me and way more effective. 352 with Red Horse and Grimaldo. That sounds like anti-hazardous FC football. Have fun. Alright, really nothing else to see from that game, so we'll take a look at the one I struggled the most with. A little lucky that pass got through. Yeah, offside trap. Really trying to be too direct again. So was the opponent. You see both of us just giving the ball away so easy. They pulled a midfielder out. Not able to do anything with it. Just corralled enough. Pull a little touch from Malin. Could have just taken that away from the defender a little more. Okay, defended for part of that. Was a little risky. But opponent didn't try the ball behind. Now they do. So that's the downside of pulling the fullback out so far. Little lucky in the end, so I'm close on a lot of these, but I'm just that step behind, which is always dangerous. Like, I'm right there. Could have been a pen. Could have also gotten the ball back. Instead, just nothing happens. Just able to defend it in the end. So all of that, I think, needs to be getting into better positions. I don't need to guard this space with tie. I need to guard a little bit more up. It's perfectly fine if I guard up here, which will force the opponent to go more that way. But because I'm here instead, I'm a little further away from my other center backs, and there's just more space in the middle there. Just need to actually corral them instead of be so aggressive. That's all fine. Little space midfield. I could have dragged. I do this move a little quicker than Musiala, maybe. I could have made them drag Zé Roberto closer to the touchline and open up even a bigger gap in field. But all that's fine. Trying to fake the give and go, hoping that'll generate a little more space. Not quite. Now this is all playing in such side spaces, so that I'm just being too direct. This is the downside of getting forward too quickly, is if you get yourself trapped in between their defensive lines, they're all here and here, and I'm stuck here with no real ability to go back or forward through it. So I've just got to try to delay in this space, just buy time. Might have like this pass eventually, but I'm so stuck here because I got the ball up the field so quickly. So this is the downside of this new direct style of I'm doing in towards the end of last match in this one here. Just completely isolate myself, nothing else really I could do. So I just got to slow the ball down, hold the ball a little bit deeper with one of my CDMs. That'll open up space for people to make runs ahead of me instead of just forcing it forward too quickly. Nothing really there worth mentioning. It's one thing to be direct like there, where you're getting it forward, but you're letting people make runs behind you. But I never get myself like trapped here. There's always a big enough gap. And that's a little lucky, but for the most part, always a big enough gap to make sure I've got some other outlet option. Now this is the downside. Even Guerrero with dribbling come style and really high dribbling stats, his body type just lets him down a little bit. It's not the turnaround I expect from him there. I was hoping to go a little further down so I get further away from that opponent to be able to make that pass. So I'm kind of guessing what's going to happen before it actually happens, which I could prevent myself from doing, but also sometimes you got to do that a little bit of guesswork, so it's a here and there moment. All of this is just trying to say goal side. Eventually they get so many players away, like everyone else for them is ahead. They should just go back and buy time and wait for people to get back and be supportive. Here they're trying to get the ball forward because all of their players are just in this little pocket there, but no actual ability to get it past my midfield line. A little aggressive there. Now, sometimes it's worth it. It doesn't have to be a perfectly controlled, hold on to the ball at all situations, play style. Sometimes it's nice to have one so it's a counter to the other and your opponent's never quite sure what you're going to do on offense, rather than just having one style and being really predictable. Sometimes trying to get through is okay, but that one, just another example of me playing direct, because it looks like that space is there. The space isn't actually there. And that one it is. I take that a little early. Schuler's not in the best spot to be able to go get a shot. It'd be a couple dribbles until she gets a shooting opportunity. I think with Malin, just go, not touchline, but closer to the touchline. Because the CDMs won't track all the way back. So the CDMs will stop probably around here as opposed to getting into the box. Whereas the backline is going to stop around there. It should create a little more of a gap. If I just keep going this way, force that backline to keep going back, it should, again, give me more space there. But I take the cut a little too early, which means cut myself off a little from some more creative play I could have done. I mean, everything here just too direct. If I figure out in these games how to hold on to the ball better. Now, I don't mind being aggressive in situations like this. I don't mind at all. Because you're getting forward with 2 attackers. I've still got 3, 4 defenders. You've got your 2 here. I've got my 4, 5-ish here. In the way of you doing anything else. So I don't mind this at all. It encourages you to get forward, but it also encourages you to get so far away from everyone else. Of course, I say that on the situation I get scored on. This is nonsense. So you can criticize me on that if you like. It's like, oh, you just said all this stuff about allowing them to get into this space. But like, that pass isn't on. This shot should never result in anything. It just bounces between Kobel off Kobel again, who then dives. If he gets back to net, it's fine. Like, I guess you could say how he defended was risky. I don't deserve to concede that at all. I guess that's a balance of how you want to play the game. Do you always want to be safe in every situation? Or do you want to sometimes be the aggressor and try to get the ball back and feel like you're actually manually defending? I hate letting the AI do everything for me, so that's too direct. Everything here is fine until that pocket. It's okay if I get in the space when my players are making better runs, when the opponent's a little more spread out. But here, again, just too isolated. Too hard to play little 2-yard passes and do anything else. So I just get myself in between their midfield line and their defensive line too quickly. That's a little, it's rushed. me playing poorly. Should be easy for Ta, or not. Must have not let me switch to Ta. I'm sure I was trying. Because he would have won the header. That's offside. That's okay. Oh, it's offside. Never mind. Switching settings. Switching is play relative. I've always used player, never ball. Ball relative might actually have its advantages, but it would take me a while to get used to it. If you're used to one, I don't think that's one worth really switching too much. Like, moving over to the other setting. Here, and isolated on the wing. Should be able to prevent them from doing much, but it's another bounce. Not really getting lucky in defense with those for me this game. There's not much they can do in most of these situations. I've got pretty much everything blocked off. They get stuck in a situation they can't think of anything else to do. So again, they're being too direct there. Not really. All of their passes are into space, but they don't use that space well enough to make me drag anybody out. Same kind of thing here. I'm trying to... You see how much better they control their center mids? In the other game, they were like bringing them up to me, making little 5-yard pockets for me in all situations. You see how much better... Like, they will drag them around, but they'll always make sure they get back in a position, or they've never dragged them far enough away for it to be a problem. I think the outlet I need to use here is just the wingbacks, because my space is both sides of the width of the field, because their defensive line is so narrow. I'm trying to play exactly through their line every time, which is exactly how they're set up. So instead of me playing to how they want to defend, I need to do something else. Because when they're in that compact shape, as soon as somebody's brought out of it, then like the whole shape kind of falls. Not the whole shape, but there's a vulnerability in it, and you're able to exploit that. Same thing. They're set up really well here. Here's an idea of getting down the wing. Not quite through, but that's fine. Now you see how spread out they are. Should be a little pocket somewhere. Obviously throw-ins are always a bit weird for the AI. That's the closest move I've really had. A little too aggressive again. Schuler's passing obviously let down in those situations sometimes, but I think if I just recognize that, hey, where'd the success come from? Even from a throw-in, I know, but where'd the success come from? Down the wing? Should probably looking down the wing more. That one I do, and I turn back inside immediately. There should be a little pocket. How soon is it going to be closed? Pretty soon. Now I'm stuck in the same situation. They're set up really well, trying to play through it. Gotta do something to make them get dragged out of position again. Now this, they're out of position because it's a counter. This is all fine. Sometimes you just hope that there's going to be a better first touch or something. It wasn't. Had to take the shot because otherwise I'd be closed down. Yeah, I'm always looking for that, and it wasn't on, and I couldn't think of anything else to do. So I probably just got to work it back to one of the defenders there. Same thing. Think I'm going to get closed down. Just luck in the midfield there. I mean, sorry, opponent, but unsuccessful on the finish again. Look at me playing exactly through their shape. They've got everybody behind the ball. Trying to go back a little to encourage them out, but not enough. They're staying exactly where they are. It's not a bad idea. But that's kind of a rare instance where Malin's gone from right mid to get all the way down to another side, so you just kind of end up with an overload sometimes. Now all of this to say, what do I need to be looking for this game? Out wide or back? Because again, I'm playing their shape and they're maintaining their shape, so I need to do anything to make them get out of it. See, they might a little bit there. Yeah, just not able to get into it. I could probably just run with Musiala into it then. Instead of getting forward, because even if this pass is successful, then I've just got two attackers, these two. Just technical plus with Musiala. I know it's not going to be as direct this way, so it's not quite as fast, but I could probably go up this way. And all of a sudden, if I get through into that space, now I've got my 2 attackers ahead of me and the ability to pass through them. Instead of just being limited with only attacking with 2, now I've added an extra 3rd. If I do this and it gets cut off, either that way or that way, I've got that pass and might be able to do a similar thing on the other side of the field, or even I got wide there. As it is, too direct. It looks like they pulled their shape apart, but then I just attack into another space their shape's defending. Yeah. Opponent's defending that well. I mean, where's my connection? I've moved myself away from everybody. I've got the one option, so they end up defending that. Otherwise, just force me out wide. I should probably just keep going out wide. Try to pull their shape apart even more. Little unlucky on the bounces. Trying to make them think that pass is a little more open than it is. They end up taking it, but there's not much they can do, so just have to go back. I'm fine with that. Obviously, as the game goes on, I have to be a little less fine with that, but I'm on counter at the moment, so I'm trying to switch over to short passing to see if there's any benefit to it. That was well read. It's all direct, but I've got space to move into. That's okay. Trying out the wing again. Might open up that pocket behind. And what have I done? I've gone to attack them in their shape again. Here's my space. Maybe Bowie out wide, maybe Guerrero out here, or back here. If I do this, and if I just move side to side, just linger on the ball. And if try to bait the opponent to come out to me. And if the opponent doesn't, move into them, make them control that opponent, or make them control that defender, and then move back. And say, hey, you're selecting this guy now, maybe you'll come follow me. Then I might be able to create space. But as it is, I'm just allowing them to stay in their shape every single time. Opponent's doing a good job of just holding it. We see the occasional benefits of being direct. Sometimes the bounces fall for you, but it's not how I want to play, obviously, and it's not successful enough. That's all okay. Looking for one of the deep runs here. Oh, that's a little better. It's done poorly in the end, but you see opponent selects this center mid, pulls them out. Other center mids being kind of, I guess, pinned by Schuler. Should open up gap on the other side. He reads it really well and brings the Roberto all the way across. Where's the actual space now? Here again. It looks like it's here. But I've only got these 2 players ahead now. If I move back here, I've actually got 3. So, successfully forced them to control the opponent and move them, and then didn't recognize it. So this would have been maybe my best attack. Could try to 3-ball to one of these 2. Or start a dribble with Malo there. Just don't recognize it. Too direct. Too taking what's given to me instead of looking around and see what's actually there. That's unlucky. Trying out some subs. I think a couple players a little tired because I've been, again, sprinting so much upfield this game. Yeah, it's poorly defended. And they start sprinting back now. I need to corral here. I've talked about this in one of my videos. But if I need to keep Bowie here and bring Ta in. So now Bowie's blocking any access back, and then Ta just sweeps in and tackles the ball. Or I can do it with Bowie and Stanway. Same idea. Bowie kind of guards all this space. Stanway blocks anything back. But as it is, I let Stanway drop back. So I need to do a better job with the second man press instead of just bringing her all the way there. I'm being too greedy. I can bring her there the first little bit, but then I have to switch to her and move her back into guarding any passing lane. Opponent being really direct himself. But then also just kind of time wasting here. Here's a much better corralling example. You see nothing else for the opponent to do, forced to give me the ball back. So that's what I should have done first on the other side of the field. Direct is okay with the pocket. Little move up here, which is really nice. Don't recognize it. So poor. I get the opponent to select the center back. Not selecting the fullbacks, not guarding anything there. Just go down to Musiala. So much space down. Eyes looking too far upfield. This is... okay. You see they're wasting time a little bit. Too direct, I get lucky. What else could I have done? It's back. I've got Sandway there. I've got Bowie outside of me. I'm just looking too far upfield. Again, any game like this, I have these this year. The biggest games where I lack success are the games I just look at tunnel vision. I'm looking this way, right? There's that kind of error all the way up the field. Anytime I look sideways, anytime I look back, I get so much more success. So all of my failed games, again, taking what's given me, doing the first obvious option. This is okay. It's my first move, and it's one of my first like successful move all game. And it comes from being direct. So what's different about this one? I think it's got to be that the opponent selected the wrong player every time. And the final two are taken against... The final two, they select the right player, but I take the touch against their body shape. So here the opponent's so much more effective, I think. Because where are all my players here? This side of the field. Who should they get involved this one? Because I've got nothing, even though there'd be a big pocket if they move this one here, I've got no like benefit of getting over here. So they might just involve another midfielder. Should probably defend with that one. As it is, let the AI do it. The AI drags that one too far out of position. That's a clever touch up against their body momentum. So I think I do that. The success here is doing that 3 times. Away from the one player they controlled, away from the next one, and then this player gets so out of position. Not so, but like significantly enough out of position because they're running the wrong way as I take the touch against them. Touch against Ruben Dias here. Touch against Van de Ven. I think the rest of the game, I'm just taking the touch into them. Any other situation in this game would have been forward here with Ney. Same with Schuler. Would have been going on the outside. Like the obvious thing is here. But that's the thing. Obvious thing is here, so the defender defends here. So if I take the less obvious option, that's where the success is. Now, we're going to stop there. This game ends 2-2. Yeah, it doesn't end 2-2. It ends 3-3, I think, right? So we'll show the goals. Gammon. That's offside. They get a late one, I'm pretty sure. No, they don't. Never mind. This is the one I lose on pens then, which was really frustrating because I go the correct way 3 different times. But I want to show a video from, like, that could have been saved. I think this one could have been saved. Yep. Makes no sense to me. Nope. And that one. So frustrating. But I want to show an example, finally, at the end here, of my current live stream, actually, not YouTube. Back to my channel. We'll have that current one. Let me show off my last game here. As I actually played it. So here, now I failed this for the rest of this game, which again was really disappointing. I'm failing at my not playing direct, but look how successful this move is. Where do I want to go? Well, I've got two pockets of space here. One's with Musiala on this side, but that's blocked enough by Frankie de Jong. I don't think I'll really be able to get the ball down here. The other's with Malen. What do? Wait till this player's selected, bring her down this way enough. Now it's Putellas, and this is standard ping pass plus. So this is a close pass in the end, but I'm confident enough with the playstyle plus and low enough interceptions. But all it does, track her enough away. Now I've got Malen in the back pocket of space. Where do I want to go? Maybe to Molo, maybe to Bowie. So I'm kind of faking to both, making the opponent selects to defend one way. End up selecting neither, because I think Teo's going to defend that one enough, and I think that's Saliba there, able to defend that one. I'll just go back. Just waiting for that same idea. Same pass against Putellas here. Putellas just gets dragged out. Here, Malen, not in that great of space, but this player retreats, and Putellas is brought out just that extra 2 or 3 yards, gives Malen such a better pocket of space there. Same thing. If I take the first pass with Bowie here, Teo's able to get from this position back a lot quicker, but I delay, and so Teo's here instead of here. And it's allowed Bowie to run further down the field, so even more successful pass there. Touch with Bowie out first. His body shape is shaping as if I could continue running this way. So the opponent always has to guard that as a threat. It looks like I could do that. They got to be worried about that. And so what that does is it encourages the opponent to defend this way, which opens up the pass back down. Same thing here. What opens up the space here? Where's the pocket? It looks like it's here, right? I've got the gap to run into here, but it's easy enough to be closed down by Varane. So instead of being really aggressive and doing a skill move or something to really try to get through it, I see that this player is being manually controlled. I'm pretty sure that they're going to drag that one across and try to defend the very obvious open gap here. This is dangerous, so players are normally going to be aggressive and kind of freak out as that last man, right? Drag that player all the way across because my body shape is here. If my body shape was facing this direction, and it's pretty obvious I've got this path, maybe Varane actually defends this or continues defending here a little bit more, and that opens up the skill move here. Everything that my body position is communicating is encouraging the defender to do something. So I face this way, encourage that. If I face that way, encourage the defender that way, open up that gap. So basically everything I'm doing is feint one way, go the other. That's where it's going to open up the space. So that's what I need to be doing with my attacking moves on every move. It's got to be waiting for the opponent to select one of their players, drag them out of position, and then go into where that gap was created. That's going to be the end of that one. The idea is to do pretty much this for at least a good number of my gaming sessions. So we'll have a couple analysis videos out per week, I think. Really trying to pinpoint my playstyle and get it back into... I've gotten into this direct, like way too direct, and really ineffective playstyle, especially for the players I use and for the type of player I am. Really so much better when I'm holding onto the ball and doing this kind of stuff. So, idea is partially for my own learning of getting myself again back into this playstyle of making myself a more effective player. But then also, again, main idea is to get this out to all of you. Hopefully you can understand what I'm doing, try to emulate a little bit more. As we do the analysis, it's kind of connecting some of the tutorial ideas into, though I'm not naming the tutorials as I'm doing it, this is all like content I've covered in those tutorials, so hopefully this will be helpful. This will be the end of this one again. Take it easy, everybody. Leave a comment, like, subscribe if you did enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.